This is ATA 2017, episode number 2 with Dave Barrett and JP of Pro Talk Outdoors. Bruce Hutchin, your host at Whitetail Rendezvous, and we're on site at ATA 2017, and I'm talking to Pro Talk Outdoors, Johnny Pace and Dave Barrett. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, tickled to be here, Bruce. I've been a fan for quite some time and listened to a lot of your stuff, and excited that we ran into you and get a chance to sit down and chat a little bit.
Yeah, we're at the treason booth, and I asked Cobb, I said, who's a couple of guys that you talk to right away? And he says, oh, go talk to those radio guys, and it's downhill from there.
You want to talk about downhill? Yeah, you've off to a great start here. But, I mean, the main thing, it's really cool for us to run into other folks that do the podcasting thing. It's neat to network, and when you come to a show like this, you figure there's so many people, you're never going to run into them right off the bat, and we were here 20 minutes, and there you were.
Yeah, and that's great. And I wanted to ask you guys, why, Whitetail Rendezvous, what's special about it? And I want to do that, and then we're going to roll into your show and find out what's special about your show, because, we're all in this thing together, and we're all bringing our little bit different genre. So talk to me a little bit about Whitetail Rendezvous and what you find value in that podcast.
Well, I tell you what, Bruce, I've listened to your podcast since day one, when they first came out, and really in part, kind of wanted to start a podcast in part because of listening to your show somewhat. And for me, listening to your podcast, not only am I going to learn something every time out by the different guests that you have on, but also it's, it doesn't matter where I'm at in public. If I'm in a store or whatever, I run into somebody that wants to talk hunting, I absolutely want to take the time and chat with them about it and get some information from them. And while when I'm listening to a podcast, I can't talk back to the guys that you have on your show or whatever while I'm listening, I can certainly take in what you guys are saying, and there's always something to learn. So that's what I really appreciate about it.
I think for me, the biggest thing is I was actually looking for a podcast to listen to while I was mowing my yard or doing things outside, just, pop some earbuds in, and obviously hunting, fishing, things that are very close and near to dear to me. And I needed to learn more about it. I'm not the best hunter in the world. I needed to get out there and get acquainted with some stuff. Yeah, I'm honest. I've got to be honest, but there's no better way to hear perspectives. I mean, other people look at things differently. Your view of a box is going to be completely different than somebody else's. And a wide guest variety like you guys have really opens my eyes to other methods, other ideas, or heck, even just, a good story.
Hey, let's switch around and do a segue. Talk to me about Pro Talk Outdoors.
Well, Pro Talk Outdoors, JP and I, we've known each other for quite some time. We played softball together back in the day. We became buddies. We started hunting and fishing together, and it led to broadcasting high school basketball games together. And then once the basketball season was over, we kind of thought, man, we need to keep this thing rolling. And as I said before, Bruce, we listened to your show and we thought, we want to start a podcast, and we feel like we've got some pretty good chops, and we kind of communicate well together. But obviously nobody knows JP and Dave, and they don't want to really talk to JP and Dave. But we found that networking is a great thing in the outdoor industry, and we are able to get a lot of professionals on in the outdoor industry, not just hunting wise, but fishing as well. We get a lot of the pros on, and we're able to talk to them, and we learn a lot from it. So that's kind of where we started that at.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. Picking back off of the learning experience, but to double up with that, and maybe even more so, an extension of the camaraderie. So you have a whole lot of fun when you're out hunting and fishing with your buddies or your dad or your uncle, your grandpa, whoever. But when it's over, you've still got those stories you can tell, but now we get to share that with other people through our show, or we get to hear about other folks, great stories, great camaraderie, great events that they go through in the trials and tribulations of a hunting season, because everybody knows it's not all, cherries and delight. So I don't know. It's just a fun way to continue your outlet and continue your hunt or your fish long after the season's over.
I'd like to now just take a couple minutes and we shared about Whitetail Rendezvous and we shared about Pro Talk Outdoors. Now, what does AT mean to you guys, and I'll chime in when I'm done about ATA and what it means to me.
Well, I'm probably going to have a completely different answer than you two fellas. I'm kind of a fanboy. I'll be honest. For years I've looked at, on social media and I see everybody going to the ATA show, and I love everything I see on Sportsman's Channel, on the Outdoor Channel, Pursuit, all those things, and I love listening to the podcasts, and for me, it's the ATA, not as it just being able to see a lot of great new products coming out, but more so, it's about running into people like you, Bruce and Bob, where I didn't know you guys face to face, but I knew who you were. And, I'm here, like JP said, 20 minutes, and I'm shaking hands with you guys. And to me, and this is my first ATA show, by the way, but to me, if anything could build off of just the first half an hour of the show for us, it's just going to be a dream come true for me. I'm really enjoying this so far.
JP?
I mean, not to sound like a broken record, but you kind of touched on it a little bit right there, Dave, mentioning just the network and putting a face to the name. While you may see somebody on camera or hear their voice on a podcast or on radio, it's nice to actually meet them, because everything we've gathered so far is, and I think you even said it on the walk over here, it's a really impressive group of folks that are in the industry, and I'm finding that to be so true each and every person we run into, and it just makes me want to continue this podcast even longer and see what's in it for us in the long haul. It's more than a hobby almost at this point. It's a passion, I think, and coming to a show like this really just reinforces that.
How do you think we help the hunting industry?
Well, I guess I would say I hope we help the hunting industry by the fact that we're putting it in the forefront, and it's always available. When you talk about a podcast, it's not like radio in the sense that no matter what you're doing, where you're at, you can download that podcast and you can listen and you can get great information at any point in time. And I think that the more stuff that we put out there, it doesn't go away. It's not like radio. Once you hear it, it's gone. This is a podcast, and you can go back and you can listen to it over and over again. And the fact that we have great guests on that are very knowledgeable, I think it does nothing but help the industry as a whole, because you can always go back and take notes if you need to. If you hear something you really like, it's always there to go back to. And that does nothing but help spread the word and bring recognition to the outdoor industry, in my opinion.
I agree. I think it's an industry that thrives on the more it's shared, the better it grows. So the more folks are getting involved, the better the future is going to be. And I think the only way to get more folks involved is to keep it at the forefront of everybody's mind year round. So I'm thinking about fishing year round because I'm a nut, but most of the guys down the street probably don't think about it till March or April, where we're from at least. And it's the same thing with hunting. The more folks think about it, the better their hunts are going to be as well. You put in the prep throughout the year, April, May, work on your food plots, get your trail cameras out, that sort of thing. I think really just keeps hunting at the forefront of everybody's mind, and it gets more folks involved. If they hear this podcast and enjoy it, they think, man, maybe I want to get started hunting. You never know, I might really enjoy that. And if it gets one person in the woods, it's worth it.
Let's share a hunting story from last fall. Come on, you guys.
Oh gosh, man, I don't want to get too long and long-winded here. I could tell you some really long ones, but
you got a couple minutes.
Okay. Well, here's the best one I have. Back in the summertime, some buddies and I kind of hunt farms that are side by side, and we spotted a deer that I started calling Nails, and Nails had 15 scoreable points, extremely wide, 24-inch inside spread, just a great deer. I actually passed him up last year, or the previous year in 2015, as a 3-year-old, but he was a 4-year-old, and I hunted Nails really hard. But the thing was where he was living at, I could only hunt with a kind of a northeast wind. On October 25th, I got that northeast wind, and Nails comes in on me at about 8:30 in the morning. And I'm videoing my hunt, by the way. So I'm by myself in the tree. I got beautiful video footage. He's wide open. I released my arrow. Schwack. I mean, right where I want to hit him. I mean, the arrow is perfectly placed. I thought. He runs away, and the arrow literally is kind of dangling out. It kind of backs out. Yeah, I didn't get much penetration, and I didn't know why. But he goes off. He lays down. spent a week and a half looking for nails. Never did find them, but there's a good ending to the story. My neighbor and best friend, Eric Sparkman, that, grew up with him from the time we were toddlers. His son was hunting the neighbor's farm, and he killed that deer a month later. I shot that deer in the liver, and I always thought that a liver hit deer was 100% fatal. And it may have been, but that deer lived a month. But my buddy's son, Travis Sparkman, was able to kill that deer. So, and I got it all on video footage. So
how big was it?
He grossed 155. He didn't have real long tines, but 155-inch deer, and in our little neck of the woods, it kind of made him a rock star. So that's
for me, I filled 2 tags this year, and they were both fairly uneventful ways to fill a tag. But I think my best story would actually have to be a hunt I went on with this guy in which I didn't fill a tag. I lost my dad it was Thanksgiving week of the year prior. And this year it came back around, and I didn't really feel I had the heart to continue at work on the next day, on the anniversary of that. And I was talking to Dave at lunch, and I was like, man, I feel like I need to take some time for myself. And we looked at the forecast, looked at the wind direction, looked at the temperature, and we both said, well, man, it'd be a pretty good day to hunt. And so he put his phone down on silent. He was still working technically from the tree, but we went out to that same spot where he
supposed to tell that.
he went to the spot where he shot nails, and we went up in the tree, and we sat up there for half a day, and we just kind of shot the bull through whispers every once in a while, and took in nature. We had a deer come in. We got it all on video, and it wasn't a shooter, but it didn't matter. It was that camaraderie that I was talking about, and it was that therapy that I needed, a year after such a traumatic incident, that somebody thought enough of me to take me out and do that kind of thing. So my best hunting story wasn't even a tag filled.
Well, guys, on behalf of Whitetail Rendezvous and our listeners across North America, this has really been fun. Johnny Pace and Dave Barrett from Pro Talk Outdoors. Guys, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Well, there's several avenues. We've got a website, protalkshow.com. We're on Facebook, of course, Pro Talk Outdoors, Instagram, Twitter. That kind of sums it up. Our podcasts are available on iTunes and Podbean. And anywhere else, JP, is that covered?
I'm just glad you didn't give out your phone number.
Yeah.
Happily married man.
We don't do that.
No, they can also reach our personal Twitters. I don't think you threw those out there, at Pace Johnny and
Dave D. Barrett.
Dave D. Barrett. So I would think that would cover it.
Well, guys, I know we're going to have a great show. Cobb set us up, and we're starting off really good. So thank you so much for being a guest on Whitetail Rendezvous.
Our pleasure.
Absolutely, anytime.
It's never too early to think about food plots. Whitetail Rendezvous has an ebook for you. Just simply text 33444 food plot to get your copy.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.